Think today's streaming shows are wild? The 1970s were television's true Wild West, an era where puppets talked, bugs sang, and superheroes battled in leopard print. These forgotten gems shaped an entire generation with their psychedelic visuals and boundary-pushing stories. Ready for a nostalgia trip that'll make you question everything you thought you knew about TV history? The Secrets of Isis, 1975 to 1977. Before Wonder Woman dominated prime time, The Secrets of Isis broke ground as television's first female superhero. This groundbreaking series featured schoolteacher Andrea Thomas, who discovered an ancient Egyptian amulet that transformed her into the mighty goddess Isis with a simple incantation, "O mighty Isis." With powers including super strength, telekinesis, and command over the elements, Isis wasn't just fighting criminals, she was teaching valuable life lessons about courage, honesty, and compassion. Each episode wrapped its action around meaningful morals, making Isis both an entertaining hero and thoughtful role model when female leads were rare. The show originally aired as part of the Shazam Isis Hour, giving young viewers their superhero fix while subtly normalizing the idea that women could save the day just as effectively as men. With her flowing white mini-dress, Egyptian-inspired headband, and wisdom-focused approach to conflict resolution, Isis created the template for empowered female characters that would follow decades later. For young girls in the 70s, Isis represented something revolutionary. Proof that they too could be powerful, smart, and heroic in a television landscape dominated by male protagonists. Though largely forgotten today, her influence echoes through every female superhero who followed her cosmic footsteps. Land of the Lost, 1974 to 1976. Imagine being swept away during a routine expedition into a prehistoric world filled with dinosaurs, mysterious civilizations, and endless adventure. That's the thrilling premise of Land of the Lost. Following the Marshall family, Rick, Will, and Holly, this Saturday morning gem combined pulse-pounding survival drama with mind-bending science fiction concepts way ahead of its time. The special effects were ambitious, if not exactly convincing. Claymation dinosaurs that jittered across screen, and sets that looked suspiciously like papier-mâché and aquarium gravel. But what the show lacked in budget, it made up for with imagination and heart. The fearsome T-Rex, nicknamed Grumpy, became a recurring threat, while the hissing Sleestaks, with their glowing eyes, haunted children's nightmares nationwide. What truly set Land of the Lost apart were its complex storylines exploring time warps, ancient temples, and mysterious artifacts that revealed tantalizing clues about this strange dimension. Writers included actual science fiction authors who crafted surprisingly sophisticated plots about closed universes and alternate dimensions, concepts rarely attempted in children's programming. Despite its Saturday morning slot, Land of the Lost tackled existential questions about humanity's place in the universe while delivering Monster of the Week thrills. For 70s kids, this wasn't just entertainment. It was an introduction to complex sci-fi storytelling that would influence their taste in entertainment forever. Zygmunt and the Sea Monsters, 1973 to 1975. What happens when you find a friendly sea monster hiding on the beach? That's the delightful premise of Zygmunt and the Sea Monsters, where two brothers discover Zygmunt, a sweet, lovable sea creature banished by his family for being too nice. In typical Sid and Marty Krofft fashion, this show blended heart, humor, and outlandish puppet designs into a uniquely 70s concoction. Johnny and Scott took Zygmunt home, hiding him from their oblivious parents while constantly fending off Zygmunt's mean-spirited sea monster relatives, led by the grumpy Big Daddy, who wanted to drag him back to the ocean depths. The premise tapped into every child's fantasy of having a secret magical friend, creating both comedy and genuine emotional connection. What made Zygmunt stand out was its surprising emotional depth. Beneath the silly antics and foam rubber costumes lay messages about acceptance, belonging, and standing up for gentleness in a world that often rewards aggression. Zygmunt wasn't just hiding from his monster family. He was rejecting their values in favor of friendship and kindness. The special effects were laughable, the foam costumes were campy, and the plots felt like they were written during a sugar crash. But that was exactly what made the show magical. For children of the 70s, Zygmunt wasn't just a character. He was a surrogate friend who taught them it was okay to be different, even if your family didn't understand you. Lidsville, 1971 to 1973. What if everyone in a magical world was a hat? That's the quirky and wonderfully weird premise of Lidsville, another Sid and Marty Krofft creation that took viewers on a fantastical journey unlike anything they'd seen before. The show followed Mark, a curious teen who falls into a magician's hat during a carnival act and ends up in Lidsville, a land where all the inhabitants are living, talking hats. From cowboy hats to chef hats, each character had its own unique personality, adding charm to this strange world. But Mark's journey wasn't all fun. He was constantly at odds with Horatio J. Hoodoo, played with over-the-top villainy by Charles Nelson Riley. This bumbling yet menacing magician was determined to keep Mark trapped in Lidsville while trying to steal magical hats with his evil rabbit accomplice. The show's surreal visuals and dreamlike sets created a psychedelic wonderland that perfectly captured the experimental spirit of early 70s television. Each episode featured elaborate musical numbers, wild chase sequences, and magical mishaps, as Mark tried to find his way back home while helping his hat friends against Hoodoo's schemes. What made Lidsville so special was its whimsical yet slightly eerie tone. The surreal visuals and quirky characters created a magical, mysterious world, while the humor and suspense of Mark's efforts to escape kept viewers hooked. For children of the 70s, Lidsville was a reminder of just how imaginative and boldly weird children's television could be. A true psychedelic journey that could only exist in that unique cultural moment. Electra Woman and Dyna Girl, 1976 to 1977. What if Batman and Robin were women using their wits and gadgets to fight crime? That's exactly what Electra Woman and Dyna Girl brought to the screen. This dynamic duo combined action, humor, and a splash of campy fun to become unforgettable 70s icons when female action heroes were practically non-existent. Dressed in bold, brightly colored costumes, Electra Woman and her sidekick Dyna Girl battled outrageous villains like the Empress of Evil and Glitter Rock. Their futuristic gadgets included the Electrocom wrist devices and other high-tech tools that helped them outsmart their enemies with creativity rather than brute force. What made the show revolutionary was its clear, female-driven twist on the superhero genre. Though comparisons to Batman were inevitable, Electra Woman and Dyna Girl weren't simply gender-swapped versions of male heroes. They approached crime fighting with their own unique perspective and style. Their adventures combined genuine suspense with light-hearted moments that appealed to viewers of all genders. For young girls, Electra Woman and Dyna Girl proved that superheroes could come in any form and be truly inspiring. Despite its short run as part of the Krofft Super Show, the duo made such an impression that they received a modern reboot in 2016, starring Grace Helbig and Hannah Hart, proving their lasting cultural impact decades after their colorful costumes first lit up TV screens. The Boogaloos, 1970 to 1972. If you remember a group of British kids dressed like insects flying around on wires and singing psych pop and Technicolor for us, you didn't dream it. That was the Boogaloos, and yes, it was even weirder than it sounds. Another Sid and Marty Krofft creation, this musical fantasy series followed 4 teenage musician bugs living in Tranquility Forest. Joy, courage, IQ, and harmony weren't just a band, they were part bug, part human, and completely unforgettable with their colorful wings and upbeat sound. Their peaceful world was constantly threatened by Benita Bazaar, played by the legendary Martha Raye, a washed-up singer who couldn't stand that the Boogaloos had real talent while she screeched through her performances. The show's infectious Beatles-inspired soundtrack set it apart from other children's programming. Each episode featured original songs with genuine musical quality, making the show feel like a psychedelic rock concert with a fairy tale twist. The Boogaloos themselves were marketed as a real band, even releasing an album of songs from the show. With its whimsical setting, catchy tunes, and offbeat humor, the Boogaloos embodied the carefree, feel-good spirit of the 70s. It offered children a fantastical escape into a world where music solved problems and friendship conquered all. Though short-lived, the show's unique blend of music and fantasy cemented its place in cult TV history as one of the decade's most distinctive creations. When Things Were Rotten, 1975. Mel Brooks brought his off-the-wall style to television with When Things Were Rotten, a zany parody of the Robin Hood legend that was too clever for its own good. This hilarious, fast-paced sitcom was packed with puns, sight gags, and Brooks' signature brand of comedy decades before Men in Tights would revisit the concept. Dick Gautier starred as a bumbling but well-meaning Robin Hood, leading a band of equally incompetent merrymen against the corrupt establishment of medieval England. The show featured an all-star comedy cast including Dick Van Patten, Bernie Kopell, and Ron Rifkin, creating a legendary comedy team that somehow got away with sneaking adult humor into primetime television. The show's opening theme perfectly set the tone with lyrics like, "Once upon a time when things were rotten, not just food, but also kings were rotten." Each episode was a masterclass in fast-paced comedy writing, with jokes flying so quickly that viewers often missed half the humor on first viewing. The series took aim at everything from politics to pop culture, wrapping social commentary in medieval clothing. Despite critical acclaim for its clever humor, When Things Were Rotten was canceled after just 13 episodes, making it one of television's most brilliant failures. Competing against ratings powerhouses, it struggled to find an audience ready for its sophisticated humor. Brooks would later revisit and expand these ideas in his 1993 film Robin Hood Men in Tights, proving the concept was sound, but perhaps ahead of its time on television. For comedy aficionados, these 13 episodes remain a lost treasure of 1970s television innovation. Fat Albert and the Cosby Kids, 1972 to 1985. Hey, hey, hey! Fat Albert and the Cosby Kids brought laughter, heart, and valuable life lessons to Saturday mornings, becoming a beloved favorite across America. This groundbreaking animated series followed Fat Albert and his friends as they navigated life in their urban Philadelphia neighborhood, tackling real-world problems with wisdom and humor. What set Fat Albert apart was its unique mix of humor and moral storytelling. The characters like Mushmouth, Rudy, Dumb Donald, and the gang felt like real kids you'd meet on the playground. Their adventures in their junkyard hangout balanced fun with meaningful moments of growth, addressing issues rarely discussed in children's programming: racism, divorce, substance abuse, and disability. The show's innovative format blended animation with live-action segments featuring creator Bill Cosby, who would introduce episodes and reinforce their lessons. The iconic Junkyard Band, creating music from discarded items like washboards and car parts, became a symbol of creativity and resourcefulness that inspired young viewers. Each episode tackled real-life challenges like bullying, honesty, and self-esteem, blending fun adventures with meaningful moments of growth. Fat Albert pioneered the concept of pro-social programming, using entertainment to positively influence children's development. Its impact went beyond entertainment, with educational institutions praising its approach to teaching values through relatable scenarios rather than heavy-handed moralizing. The Croft Super Show, 1976 to 1978. Oh, you wanted weird? You got weird. Sid and Marty Krofft brought you Wonderbug Doctor, Shrinker, and Electra Woman and Dyna-Girl all rolled into one glittery, low-budget variety hour. It was chaos and spandex, and Saturday mornings never recovered. This mind-bending variety program showcased multiple mini-shows within a single program, creating a kaleidoscopic viewing experience. Hosted by the flashy fictional rock band Captain Cool and the Kongs, each episode served up a collection of exciting miniseries, offering kids a new adventure every week. From the high-tech superhero antics of Electra Woman and Dyna-Girl, to the mad scientist mayhem of Dr. Shrinker, and the magical crime-solving dune buggy in Wonderbug, the Croft Super Show was a buffet of fantasy and fun. The show's format was revolutionary, essentially creating a television universe where different shows existed under one umbrella, a precursor to modern shared universe concepts. The transitions between segments featured the Kongs performing musical numbers, making the entire experience feel like a variety show dark action-adventure hybrid. The show's vibrant sets, outrageous costumes, and offbeat characters made it impossible to look away. It was a non-stop thrill ride that felt like a roller coaster of excitement. Though individual segments like Electra Woman and Dyna-Girl are sometimes remembered, many forget they originated as part of this innovative programming experiment that pushed the boundaries of what children's television could be. Shazam! 1974 to 1977. Imagine shouting one magic word and turning into a superhero. That's the thrilling premise of Shazam, a 70s TV show that brought every kid's ultimate fantasy to life. This live-action adaptation of the DC Comics character followed teenager Billy Batson, who transformed into the mighty Captain Marvel by shouting Shazam, gaining powers derived from mythological figures like Solomon, Hercules, and Zeus. With his mentor simply called Mentor, Billy traveled the country in an old RV helping people and confronting villains. Unlike modern superhero shows, Shazam eschewed complex origin stories and supervillains, instead focusing on Billy's journey to help ordinary people with everyday problems, from stopping thieves to rescuing children in danger. What made Shazam unique was its moral framework. Each episode ended with Captain Marvel directly addressing viewers with the lesson of the day, reinforcing values like honesty, responsibility, and courage. This educational approach helped the show avoid criticism during a time when children's advocacy groups were increasingly concerned about violence in programming. But Shazam wasn't just about superpowers. It was about doing the right thing. Each episode taught bravery, honesty, and kindness, while delivering action and suspense. Though overshadowed by later superhero adaptations, Shazam pioneered the translation of comic book heroes to live-action television, proving these characters could work outside the printed page and setting the stage for the superhero-dominated entertainment landscape we know today. Wonder Woman, 1975-1979. Before superheroes dominated the box office, Wonder Woman was saving the world with grace, strength, and a golden lasso. Lynda Carter's unforgettable portrayal of Diana Prince, an Amazonian princess turned superhero, brought justice and compassion to screens across America, creating one of television's most iconic characters. The first season transported viewers to World War II, where Wonder Woman battled Nazis and uncovered conspiracies. Later, she tackled modern challenges armed with her iconic lasso of truth, indestructible bracelets, and trusty invisible jet. This shift in time periods was unique in superhero storytelling, allowing the character to exist in different historical contexts. The show's success hinged on Lynda Carter's perfect embodiment of Wonder Woman, powerful yet compassionate, fierce yet diplomatic. Her famous transformation sequence, spinning to change from Diana Prince into Wonder Woman, became one of television's most recognizable moments, often imitated but never duplicated. What made Wonder Woman so special was its empowering presence as one of the first female-led superhero shows. It gave women and young girls a heroine to admire. Lynda Carter's perfect blend of strength, grace, and warmth made Wonder Woman an icon who inspired belief in courage and ability. The show proved that female superheroes could carry a series, opening doors for generations of powerful women characters on television and eventually the big screen. Josie and the Pussycats, 1970-1971. Rock music, mysteries, and glamour. Josie and the Pussycats had it all. This beloved 70s cartoon followed an all-girl rock band as they toured the world, mixing music with thrilling adventures. Based on the Archie comics series, it brought a fresh, female-driven energy to Saturday mornings when most cartoons centered on male heroes. The series centered on Josie, the fearless leader, Valerie, the brainy bassist, and Melody, the lovable and ditzy drummer. Between sold-out shows and exotic locations, the trio faced exciting mysteries, outsmarting villains, and escaping danger with teamwork and quick thinking. Their globe-trotting adventures took them everywhere from ancient castles to tropical islands, all while performing concerts and dodging danger. What set Josie and the Pussycats apart was its ahead-of-its-time representation. The character of Valerie was one of the first regularly appearing black characters in a Saturday morning cartoon, breaking important ground for diversity in children's programming. The show portrayed the band members as smart, capable, and independent at a time when women's liberation movements were gaining momentum. Their signature leopard print outfits and catchy theme song, Josie and the Pussycats, Long Tails and Ears for Hats, made them unforgettable. Though short-lived, the show's impact was significant enough to inspire a 2001 live-action film adaptation and cement the Pussycats as cultural icons. For girls in the 70s, Josie offered a rare glimpse of female characters who weren't sidekicks or love interests. They were the stars of their own show, controlling their own destiny. Hong Kong Phooey, 1974. Hong Kong Phooey was the ultimate underdog, literally. This 1974 Hanna-Barbera cartoon introduced audiences to Penrod Penry Pooch, a mild-mannered janitor at a police station who secretly transformed into the bumbling yet heroic Hong Kong Phooey. With his red robe and black mask, he fought crime using martial arts techniques from his Hong Kong Book of Kung Fu, or at least he tried to. The problem? He wasn't exactly a skilled fighter, his moves were clumsy, his knowledge was questionable, and more often than not, he caused more chaos than the villains. But somehow, with sheer luck and the real heroics of his quick-thinking, feline sidekick Spot, he always saved the day. Most episodes featured Penry overhearing a crime report, slipping into a filing cabinet to change into his alter ego, and then bumbling his way to accidental success. The show's premise perfectly captured the 1970s martial arts craze sparked by Bruce Lee films, but with a comedic twist perfect for children. The theme song, performed by the legendary Scatman Crothers, who also voiced Hong Kong Phooey, became one of the most memorable cartoon themes of the decade with its funky rhythms and catchy lyrics. Despite lasting only 16 episodes, Hong Kong Phooey achieved cult status through years of reruns. The show's appeal lay in its perfect balance of action and comedy. Kids could enjoy the exciting crime fighting while laughing at Phooey's mistakes and Spot's eye-rolling reactions. As one of the earliest animated superhero parodies, it helped establish a subgenre that continues to thrive today. Apple's Way, 1974-1975. You want a show about a city family moving to a small town and learning the power of neighborly kindness? That's exactly what Apple's Way delivered. A heartfelt drama about escaping the rat race before it was trendy. Created by Earl Hamner Jr., the same genius behind The Waltons, this overlooked gem captured the 1970s back-to-nature movement perfectly. The show followed architect George Apple, played by Ronnie Cox, who, disillusioned with urban life, moves his family from Los Angeles to his grandfather's hometown of Appleton, Iowa, to restore an old gristmill and find a simpler existence. The culture clash between the sophisticated Apple family and the down-home locals created both comedy and poignant moments of connection as they learned to embrace small-town values. With storylines tackling everything from environmental concerns to generational conflicts, Apple's Way was surprisingly progressive for its time. The show featured early appearances by stars like Vince Van Patten and a young Christy McNichol, who brought authentic, youthful perspectives to their roles as the Apple children navigating their new rural reality. Despite its promising premise and strong performances, Apple's Way struggled against ratings powerhouse The Wonderful World of Disney in its Sunday night time slot. CBS canceled it after just 2 seasons, but not before it made a lasting impression on viewers searching for television that reflected the growing desire to escape urban pressures and find meaning in community connection, a theme that remains remarkably relevant today. Speed Buggy, 1973. What if your best friend was a talking dune buggy? That's the fun and heartwarming premise of Speed Buggy, a 70s cartoon packed with adventure, comedy, and charm. This Hanna-Barbera creation gave vehicles personality decades before Pixar's Cars, creating an unforgettable character in the stuttering, enthusiastic orange dune buggy. The show followed Speed Buggy, or Speedy to his friends, a lovable, sentient dune buggy, and his human friends Tinker, Debbie, and Mark. Together, they traveled the globe, solving mysteries, competing in races, and outsmarting villains with dastardly plans. Each episode typically involved the team entering a race that somehow became entangled with a criminal plot that only Speed Buggy's unique abilities could help solve. What made Speed Buggy special was the character himself, voiced by legendary voice actor Mel Blanc, known for Bugs Bunny and countless other characters. Speed Buggy had a distinctive speech pattern with a charming stutter and catchphrases like "vroom a zoom zoom" that kids loved to imitate. His expressive face and headlight eyes gave him a personality that transcended his mechanical nature. What made Speed Buggy so special was its perfect mix of humor and adventure. The dynamic between Speed Buggy and his friends felt like a road trip with your best pals, full of laughter, teamwork, and excitement. Though it lasted only 1 season, Speed Buggy lived on through reruns throughout the decade, cementing its place in the hearts of 70s kids who dreamed of having their own talking car long before Knight Rider made the concept famous. Schoolhouse Rock, 1973-1985. Can you imagine learning grammar and math through catchy tunes? That's the brilliance of Schoolhouse Rock, the beloved 70s series that turned Saturday morning TV into a fun, educational experience. These short, animated musical segments revolutionized educational programming by proving learning could be genuinely entertaining. The show used short, animated music videos to make complex topics easy to understand, whether it was Conjunction Junction, teaching how words link together, or I'm Just a Bill, explaining the legislative process. Each segment lasted just 3 minutes, but packed in enough information and melody to stick in viewers' minds for decades. Many adults today can still recite these songs word for word. What made Schoolhouse Rock revolutionary was its understanding that music could be a powerful mnemonic device. The catchy melodies and clever lyrics helped children absorb and retain information they might have found boring in textbooks. The animation style was distinctive and approachable, using simple characters and visual metaphors to illustrate complex concepts. What made Schoolhouse Rock so special was its ability to blur the lines between fun and learning. The series covered 4 primary subject areas: grammar, science, America, and multiplication, and won 4 Emmy Awards during its run. Its cultural impact extended far beyond the classroom, with songs like "I'm Just a Bill" becoming so ingrained in American consciousness that they've been parodied on shows like The Simpsons and Saturday Night Live, the ultimate testament to their lasting cultural significance. The new Scooby-Doo movies, 1972-1974. What happens when Scooby-Doo meets Batman and Robin? That's the kind of fun and excitement the new Scooby-Doo movies brought to every episode. This innovative series expanded the Scooby universe by introducing celebrity guest stars to join the mystery-solving gang, creating an unprecedented crossover format that delighted young viewers. Each episode saw Scooby, Shaggy, Fred, Velma, and Daphne teaming up with stars like the Three Stooges, Sonny and Cher, or animated versions of Batman and Robin. Other guests included Don Knotts, the Harlem Globetrotters, and even the Addams Family, creating a must-see atmosphere as kids tuned in wondering which famous face would join the gang next. The format was revolutionary. These weren't just cameo appearances, but full collaborations, where celebrities became integral to solving the mystery. The episodes were twice the length of standard Scooby-Doo adventures, allowing for more complex plots and character interactions while maintaining the familiar formula of unmasking the monster at the end. What made the new Scooby-Doo movies so special was the novelty of its crossovers. The series created a template for future animation crossovers and expanded universes, showing that fictional characters could interact across different properties. This innovation helped establish Scooby-Doo as a flexible franchise that could adapt to different formats and collaborations, contributing to its enduring popularity across multiple generations. Dusty's Trail, 1973-1974. In the dusty footsteps of Gilligan's Island, Sherwood Schwartz's Dusty's Trail took audiences on a wild wagon train adventure that mirrored its predecessor's shipwreck chaos right down to its characters. This Old West sitcom followed 7 travelers, hopelessly lost en route to California due to the bumbling scout Dusty, played by Gilligan's Island star Bob Denver. The premise was brilliantly simple. What if the same group of mismatched personalities from Gilligan's Island were stuck in the Wild West instead of on an island? Denver's character Dusty was essentially Gilligan in cowboy boots, while Forrest Tucker played the skipper equivalent as wagon master Carson Brookhaven. The wealthy Brookhaven siblings mirrored the millionaire and his wife, while the dance hall girl Lulu stood in for Ginger, and schoolteacher Betsy was clearly this show's Mary Ann. Each episode featured the travelers getting into preposterous situations as they tried to find their way to California, encountering bandits, Native American tribes, gold prospectors, and other Western staples. The familiar characters and fish-out-of-water scenarios created comedy gold, even if critics complained about the recycled Gilligan's Island formula. Despite its potential and the proven chemistry of its cast, Dusty's Trail failed to capture the magic of its island predecessor. It was canceled after just one 26-episode season, becoming a curious footnote in television history. For Denver fans, it represented a fascinating what-if scenario. What if Gilligan had been lost in the Old West instead of the Pacific? The answer, it turns out, was just as chaotic, but not quite as memorable as the original. The Girl with Something Extra, 1973-1974. You can read everybody's mind? Of course not. Oh, just some people. This forgotten gem starred the always charming Sally Field as newlywed Sally Burton, who suddenly discovers she has telepathic powers after an encounter with a strange light during a thunderstorm. John Davidson co-starred as her husband John, trying to navigate married life with a wife who could literally read his every thought. This NBC sitcom took the traditional newlywed comedy formula and added a supernatural twist that created endless comedic possibilities. Imagine trying to surprise your wife with an anniversary gift when she can hear your internal debate about what to buy, or attempting to hide your annoyance with your mother-in-law when your spouse knows exactly what you're thinking. The telepathy premise served as a clever metaphor for the challenges of communication in relationships. The show featured a delightful supporting cast including Terry Garr and Jack Sheldon, bringing extra comedy firepower to the already charming premise. Field's natural likability made her the perfect actress to play a character who could have easily become intrusive or creepy with her mind-reading abilities. Instead, her Sally was sympathetic and well-intentioned, using her powers mostly to help others or prevent trouble. Despite promising ratings early on and Field's star power, The Girl with Something Extra struggled against tough competition in its Friday night time slot and was canceled after one season. It remains a fascinating example of 70s high-concept comedy and an early showcase for Field's comedic talents before she transitioned to more dramatic film roles that would eventually earn her 2 Academy Awards. Holmes and Yo-Yo, 1976 to 1977. Imagine a cop show where one detective is secretly a robot. That's the hilarious premise of Holmes and Yo-Yo, a quirky sitcom that tried to capitalize on both the police drama trend and America's fascination with robotics and artificial intelligence. This ahead-of-its-time concept predated classics like RoboCop by more than a decade, though with a decidedly more comedic approach. Detective Alexander Holmes, Richard B. Schull, was notorious for injuring his partners, so the department assigns him Gregory Yo-Yo Yoyanovich John Shuck, a state-of-the-art android designed to look human but equipped with super-strength built-in police files and various high-tech crime-fighting capabilities. The catch? Yo-Yo was still a prototype with major glitches like spinning uncontrollably near garage door openers or shorting out when wet. The show's humor largely stemmed from Yo-Yo's frequent malfunctions during crucial moments and Holmes's desperate attempts to keep his partner's true nature secret from criminals and fellow officers alike. Episodes featured scenarios like Yo-Yo calculating odds during poker games, lifting impossibly heavy objects in public, or his robotic parts coming loose at inopportune times. Despite its innovative premise mixing science fiction with police comedy, Holmes and Yo-Yo failed to connect with audiences and was canceled after just 13 episodes. TV Guide even listed it among the worst shows ever made, but time has been kinder to the series, with modern viewers appreciating its quirky charm and innovative concept. The show represents a fascinating television experiment that tried to blend genres at a time when audiences perhaps weren't ready for a robot detective with a funny glitch. Which of these forgotten classics sparked your childhood imagination? Was it the eerie hiss of the sleaze talks, the catchy tunes of Schoolhouse Rock, or the thrill of watching Wonder Woman deflect bullets with her bracelets? Drop a comment below. And here's a thought. Could today's CGI-perfect algorithm-driven shows ever capture the raw creativity and risk-taking spirit of 70s television? Or have we traded imagination for production value?